Before we get too far into things, I just want to let you know that this blaster is for sale. So if you were interested in owning the ASURYAN yourself, well, there's a link at the top of the description of the video that will take you right to the eBay page where you can place a bid and hopefully win this for yourself. None of that money goes to me, it all goes to Blastaway.eu. I'm just selling this blaster for them because it's easier for me to sell it here than it is for them to sell it in Germany. So, bid with confidence. Blastaway.eu has got a lot of crazy blasters on their channel. A lot. There's things that I have never seen before and will probably never see again, and they cover the gamut from anything from military-looking blasters that are clearly bottom modifications to look like something real yet painted to look like something from Nerf, to just clear insanity. Like, what is that supposed to be? I'll tell you what that's supposed to be. Pure awesome. But not all of that are things like the ASURYAN. This is a really old blaster. We're talking over 3 years old, almost 4 years old now, since this thing was developed, and why do I have it? Blastaway.eu asked me to do a video on it, and then potentially sell the blaster as time went on, and, well, now I'm here to finally make good on that promise, far too long later, to sell this blaster for them and give them all the money and make them happy, because, I guess in Germany they don't really care about works of art like this, they just want blasters that look like real steel. So, good for you, I guess, because now you get a chance to own this thing. So why exactly would you even want to own the ASURYAN? Is that a question I even really need to answer? I mean, it looks freaking cool, and it's got a gimmick that you really don't see all too often when it comes to this hobby, and that is, the stuff up here. But let's talk about the blaster itself. It is, of course, a Stryfe, a stock Stryfe, inside the shell of a Centurion, which means it is still a Stryfe for all intents and purposes, but it's got a thumbhole stock and a comfortable stock, and it looks really cool, and kind of that's what matters. But it does have some parts from the Centurion still on it, like this madness up here. This is the ASURYAN's main claim to fame, the fact that it can fire mega darts out of the top of it, kind of just by putting a dart in there, make sure it fits nice and snug, pulling this all the way back, and then letting go. And of course, the faster you do that, the more powerful the shot is, and it does take a little bit of practice to get that right, but, oh, there's a lot of things you can do with that. In fact, when I was at Ragnar Oktoberfest, this would have been a really important blaster. In fact, I saw a kid running around with just the internals from a Centurion because we needed megas to kill some of the special zombies. And not a lot of people brought Mega. I didn't bring any Mega, so having a good blaster platform like the Stryfe with the ability to just quickly let loose a shot from a Mega Dart blaster, or even the special Mega Slugs to give it a shotgun effect, would have been really friggin' important. And this won't go for everybody, but the stock length right here is like the perfect size for me. It's really comfortable. I think the only problem is I really want to look down this thing like it's a scope, and that just doesn't work. I mean, cosmetically, it kind of looks like some kind of aiming device, but it's not. It's a plunger tube. It fires a dart, and that's kind of what it's meant to do. Arguably more important when it comes to our hobby, because accuracy isn't always that important when your target is 3 feet in front of you, and really all you want to do is hit them with a specific type of dart. And the paint job on the ASURYAN is really good. I'm not going to say it's the most well-applicated thing ever. I mean, this blaster was made several years ago and was one of the first blasters that Blastaway.eu ever crafted themselves, so it's a little rough around the edges, but it does look really nice. The thought process of making a two-toned blue paint job with white highlights is really good, and they put a lot of effort into making this thing look as good as it does. The bodywork on this blaster runs from very good, as in I can't really tell even where they made the cuts, and it looks absolutely awesome, to, there's big globs of putty on the grip, and that probably could have been sanded a little bit more, but you get what you get when you buy an old blaster and one of the first things a creator has ever made. So while this isn't a perfect blaster by any means, I mean, it's been knocking around in his shop, my shop, it traveled several thousand miles across the world to get to me, it's still really, really nice looking, and that's the most important thing. And again, it's one of the first things that Blastaway.eu ever made, and that kind of legacy is really, really important. It's not gonna look like the pinnacle of human achievement but it's definitely a beautiful work of art that, honestly, I don't even know how much I'd want to play with it as much as just keep it on a shelf and admire it. But there's really not a whole lot of beating around the bush. This thing is a stock Stryfe. In fact, the external battery tray here, which had to be moved because, of course, you can't get to the original one anymore, is actually only wired up for 3 batteries. This thing was kind of built to be used with IMRs or catch fires or whatever you happen to use. So it only holds 3 batteries, so if you're using stock alkalines, it takes forever to do anything. It doesn't fire all that well. The Mega Plunger tube on the top of it is, well, it runs from pretty good to okay. I mean, it really depends on technique and how well this whole system is lubed up. I mean, obviously, the releasing part is kind of the most important when it comes to making this thing effective on the battlefield. I haven't quite got used to it yet, but I'm sure somebody else can. But thankfully, it comes with these Mega Slugs, when that turns the thing into a shotgun, which is, again, really important if you want to use this thing for an HVZ weapon, and I would highly recommend that, because it doesn't hit all that hard, so it should be able to make it under any FPS cap out there, while still being extremely usable as an HVZ primary. And while being able to easily shoot a Mega Dart out of something like this towards a zombie is going to be really important for you to be able to tag out multiple types of zombies at once. And more importantly, this thing has been kicking around on the internet for some time. A lot of people have seen the ASURYAN, and that makes it... it just stands out so well, seriously. And being an HVZ primary is kind of where this thing belongs. If you actually do want to use it, it doesn't hit all that hard, so it's going to be able to work even with a full tray of IMRs. It's going to work pretty good to skirt under just about any FPS cap out there, and the ability to shoot Mega Darts at will is going to be really important to your survival as a human, because those special zombies are going to require all sorts of gimmicks to take them down, and, well, this one can do it effortlessly without even having to think. You just pull this thing back, let it go, fire a Mega Dart out there, and reload it. Which is, I can't tell you how much I would have wished to have had this thing at Ragnarok Oktoberfest. That would have made my life a heck of a lot easier, and I'm definitely thinking about doing something like this in the future, because it's really important if you do HVZ. And this was just such an elegant solution to putting something that honestly not a whole lot of people liked and making it significantly better. Is this a perfect, flawless blaster? No. Is it an absolute powerhouse? No. It's just an odd piece of internet history dedicated to a channel that has done so much in inspiring other people to get into the hobby, and honestly, it deserves to go to a very, very good home where it's going to be cherished. Or completely torn apart and made insanely better. I have no idea what the fate of this thing befalls, but that's up to you to decide, because again, if you want to own this thing, there's an eBay link down in the description, and honestly, I really hope somebody who really likes this blaster wins it. And I hope you have some pretty insane plans to either put it up on a shelf and leave it where it is, or take it apart and turn it up to a 12. I actually don't know what the right call is in this situation, because I really think this blaster is beautiful the way it is, but it also is a blaster that deserves to shoot as many zombies and other players as possible, because what's the blaster's purpose? To shoot people. And it's kind of a shame to just leave it on a shelf and whatnot. I wonder what Blastaway.eu would actually like this thing to be used for. I'm not quite sure, but let me know what you think about the ASURYAN down in that comment section below. I'm really curious if you guys have ever seen this. I'm really curious if you've ever seen this blaster before and what you thought of it, and if it ever inspired you to make anything custom made for the hobby. Because, well, that's the best part of the nerfing hobby. Shooting people is awesome, but making a custom blaster specifically built to shoot people is a lot more fun. I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video. I am obviously still really sick, but I needed to get this thing done. Hopefully this one passes the test. And of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta